Now, bringing you the very best in New Hampshire-based local music on IPMNation.com and 100.1 The Planet, this is Local Outbreak.
To someone who cares, Savior preaching your crocodile tears. Baby, if you want, you can hold my hand. I will lead you to promised land. Maybe I'm not the one you need to save. Keep your blind faith, 'cause I'll never change from cradle to Laying on your knees means nothing to me, so save your heaven and hell for the wishing well. Baby, if you want, you can hold my hand. I will lead you to promised land. Maybe I'm not the one you need to save, so keep your blind faith, 'cause I'll never change from cradle to grave.
That is Cradle to Grave. The band is Lone Wolf James, and we have Lone Wolf James here with us in studio. And she's not on a mic, but Echo Ray is here. She was on the show with us recently and first introduced us to the band. Well, technically, she brought that track, and we will play some more from Lone Wolf James later in the show. But Jenny and I had seen Lone Wolf James live, and I don't know if you guys realize this, but we'll talk about it. And we really enjoyed your set. But let's get into it. So we've got the guys here. Gary James, of course, Lone Wolf James yourself. How are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Good. Thank you for having me.
And you sing and you play guitar, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what do let's start with you over here in the corner, sir. Tell us what you do, and tell us who you are rather, and what you do in the band.
My name's Jeff Holmes. I'm the bass player and do backup vocals.
All right, Jeff, welcome. And you, sir?
My name's Tim Evans, and I'm the lead guitarist.
Lead guitarist, okay. And you, sir? I'm Sherman Wilson. Oh, Sherman, I can't hear you, and I apologize. You know what? I got to really crank that up here. All right, let's try that again. There we go.
I'm Sherman Wilson, and I'm the drummer.
All right. Sorry, Sherman. You're in the microphone that we don't. We only use that one if we need an extra mic, but we did get it plugged in, so we got that much figured out.
It's always the drummer. It's always the drummer.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah. So guys, welcome to the show. Jenny and I saw you live at Swarmy Fest.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That was and I'll tell you, I had not heard Lone Wolf James prior to that, and I saw you on the schedule because we were there as sponsors and representing the radio show. And I remember saying to Jenny after or during your set, I said, they sound like a band named Lone Wolf James. Yeah. Like you sounded like I expected you to sound based on the name. And please take that as a compliment because I think the name is really cool and I really like your sound.
No, thank you.
But yeah, have you guys been around a while? Has the band been around for a long time? That's my impression.
I started it years ago, and I was like playing acoustic on a stool doing open mic.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how it all started. I had left the band, and the whole. I think Echo told you this before, but when I left the band, I was leaving all the crap behind. You know?
Yeah.
And the guy went, "Well, there goes Lone Wolf," and I was like, "I'm going to use that."
Oh, yeah.
So I used that, my last name, James. I put them together. There was the Lone Wolf James. You know?
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm part Native American kind of fit in, too. So
oh, yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm going to use that. But, yeah, so I started it then, and there's been, over the years you add people and you do this and that, but I was trying to find, the right lineup because I was getting to the point where the band is starting to go from regional crossing into the national border.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that, but as I did it, it was just like, this is not the lineup that is going to do it. So
right.
So we kind of Jeff's been with me 11 years, so he's like my right-hand guy.
Okay.
And I've known Tim, we've known each other since we were 14.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we were in our very first band together ever.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was a drummer back then.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
So it all kind of came together, with fate and phone calls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all kind of felt Jeff and Sherman had gone and tried out for the same band at one time, and then they were both like, yeah, nope.
Oh, no kidding.
But they were friends, and then when I told Jeff that I was going to have Sherman come and audition, he's like, hire that guy,
Yeah.
and whatever. So it was just like, it was faded.
Yeah, yeah.
But this particular lineup now has been, you've been a couple of years now, right?
Yep.
And we've gone from the local to the regional, and now we're tipping our hat into the national pool. We've been playing with all national bands.
Yeah.
Because of certain deals and connections and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So...
is the band, are you the only original member technically, or?
Yes, from the original day, because it started with me. You know?
Yeah.
And my first two first records were acoustic.
Okay.
And I added drums and stuff to it. But the first couple of EPs are sold out.
Oh, wow.
So that one that you played Cradle off of is actually was the second full album.
Oh, okay.
And that's the only one still available.
Oh.
Really, other than I have a few of the one before that. But,
okay.
But I've been in the studio for the last couple of years now, recording this new EP with the guy that works for Sony and Capitol and all that.
Oh,
stuff.
very nice.
Yeah. So and everybody is, except for Sherman, because it happened right before he joined the band.
Oh, really?
But so he's the only one who doesn't have to get yelled at in the studio.
Right.
But other than that, everybody here is Lone Wolf James. Well, everybody brings something to the table, but it's like you have to have the head of the the
of course.
octopus. So
Of course.
it's just kind of that. But yeah, I have to do the business part of it too.
Yeah.
You know, I take care of like the contracts and that kind of stuff. And then as far as like the songwriting goes, you know, I come up with an idea and I go, I like this, and sometimes I just go to his house and say, hey, this is what I got.
Yeah.
And he'll go, let's do this or whatever, you know. Or I just bring it to the table and go, okay, this is like, here's the pizza dough, add the toppings.
Right,
you know?
right.
And everybody kind of puts in their stuff, and then, you know, you get ideas as it goes. But, you know.
Is the original material that you did, is that available online?
Some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you had to, like, have been around. I released the first EP in 2000.
Okay.
So it was 25 years ago. I mean, I was just coming out, just getting out of like the cover band situation and a couple of local bands that weren't doing anything but garage, you know, local, maybe, you know, once in a while the Rock Pile or something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But other than that, it was, and I just wanted to get serious, and they were all about drugs and you know, and I was just like, I'm done with this. You know? And that's why he was trying to chafe me by saying, oh, there goes Lone Wolf, like I'm gonna go off my, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna use that.
That's
you know,
that's pretty cool. You know that somebody threw that at you, trying to insult you, and you took that and said, "Oh yeah."
And now they're going, "Oh, geez, these guys are playing with this guys and these guys and Ace Frehley and you know," and they're like, "Yeah, who's laughing now?"
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But that's really the way, and it's about the hard work that you put in and stuff, and it's about the loyalty too. You know, like these guys have played some. I don't know. I'm surprised they didn't call me and go, "Are you crazy?"
Right,
you know.
right.
But some of the places that we've done and some of the things. Sherman's first gig with us was in this. It was a biker fest thing, but it was in somebody's yard, and it was all. It rained so bad.
Yeah.
It was like Mudfest 2009. I was like, oh my God. And he pulled in, I'm thinking, this kid is never coming back.
Yeah.
You know, and whatever. And we, you know, we go from those to what we're doing now.
Yeah.
You know?
Very cool. I saw pictures that you mentioned Ace Frehley, and I saw pictures of you guys online with Ace. Kiss is my favorite band, so I saw those. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
He was awesome.
Was he? Yeah. I've heard, Day to Attend, who've,
Jeff,
been on the show
friends
quite, you know,
with
Jeff.
him.
Yeah. Those guys are great. And they played with Ace at the Aura, I think, in Portland. Yep. But I heard that Ace went on. I haven't seen Ace solo live for a very long time, but I've heard he went on very, very late.
Oh, really?
That night, yeah. I guess it's kind of. But your experience with him was positive.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I love Days to Attend. They're great guys.
Oh yeah.
We were supposed to play that show, and I had prior engagement, so I turned it down.
Yeah.
And then I found out that they got the opening slot, so I was like, oh great, that's great for them.
Yeah.
And the manager of Ace called my agent and came back and said, can they play the Blue Ocean since they can't do the Aura?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't have any at all. In fact,
that's good.
You know, we had played with some other big nationals before that, and we didn't really get them, with the exception of like a couple. We didn't really get to meet anybody.
Really?
They all kind of hid away in their own. So I never went into it thinking we were going to meet Ace. You know, and we did our show, and the crowd loved us, and there was a line at Echo's booth.
Yeah.
You know, for the merch and all that stuff. And the guy we're doing our meet and greet because we do it every show. Signing autographs and, you know, taking pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the guys that owns the Blue Ocean came running up to me. He looked kind of frazzled.
Really?
And he's like, is your whole band here? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, they're over there doing the meet and greets, right?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, you got to come out back. Ace wants to see you.
Oh, nice.
So now I'm thinking, I didn't know if it was nice or he was going to rip us a new one. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know if we did something wrong or what. So I was like, sure. So I go and I grab the guys and I'm like, let's just go out back. And we pass all these VIP guys, you know, people with VIP passes and stuff. And I still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then we get to a wall and he goes, you know, hold on, I'm going to take a picture of you. So I'm thinking, maybe Ace takes a picture of all the opening acts that he gets, you know, for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
So I'm still thinking this is why we're back here. And then this door opens, and here he comes at 6'5" or whatever. He's huge. He's
a tall guy.
He must have been wearing big shoes.
He was
or
wearing
something.
cowboy boots.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
he's got to have lifts in the. Because I noticed in the pictures he's towering over you guys, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Ace isn't that tall.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he
I'm
is.
5'8".
Wow.
You know.
Huh.
So he came out, shook our hands, said he loved what we played, and
Yeah.
thanked us. We thanked him, and he put his arms around us, took some pictures, and
Yeah.
and then we went back to the thing. So we weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
So that was very cool of him.
That is. Yeah, that's
That's
extremely cool. Yeah. Who else have you opened for?
There's a long list.
There's a long-
As far as legends, like I wasn't with this present lineup, but I did ZZ Top and Skinner on the same bill.
Yeah. Nice.
But we've done everything from. It's funny because my agent now. The one thing he loves about us is he can put us in any category from 70s to the 2000s to whatever. So
Yeah.
we have literally done like 80s bands where we're playing with like Enough's Enough. We've played
Yeah.
with Jackal. I've done Cinderella.
Yeah.
Faster Pussycat. Then you turn around and they put us with Alter Bridge, Theory of a Dead Man, Blackstone Cherry.
Yep.
Buck Cherry, all these other bands, and then you go to bands like Edema and Head PE, and
Yep.
we played with Saliva, and so Power Man 5000 is coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he
Lynch
loves
Mob.
the fact that we did with Lynch Mob. So it's like
Nice.
we have all these different. He loves the fact that we don't have to just go, hey, we can only put you guys with this type of music.
Yeah.
Like we have done everything from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and thousands, And,
Yeah.
and the good thing about that is he's just like, well, your branch of music can go from a 25-year-old to a 75-year-old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have a 50-year gap, which a lot of bands don't have.
Yeah.
And especially for a younger act like us, these bands that we're playing with are all 15, 20 years older than we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of like, well, we kind of got into a niche where it fit for us.
Yeah.
But a lot of those bands. I mean, we've done a lot of nationals, from lower nationals that something that was around in the 80s to legends like Ace.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Have you, in terms of, I mean, do you get out of New England much for those kind of shows? Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I did a couple of stints myself in Nashville.
Nice.
Yeah, I played the Bluebird and stuff like that. But
Okay.
the band right now, the core of us is, I mean, usually, I hate to say it, but it usually comes down to money and things like that,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And I mean, everybody here is got, I'm the only one that's really not married. You know what I mean?
Really? Yeah.
So it's just kind of like one of those type of deals. So what I do is I keep it enough for everybody to go, look, I made a deal with them, and I said, we'll go from Maine to Jersey.
Yeah.
And I go, and anything past that, I mean, obviously I'll give plenty of notice and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at this way, everything's a day away. Mm-hmm. A few hours.
That makes sense.
You know,
yeah.
that way it's like, okay, if we're playing, I'm telling you, in 2 months, we're playing 4 shows, and we're going from Maine to Rhode Island to Connecticut to Jersey to back to, they know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they
Yeah.
can put in for, and then that way it's not like I'm calling them, hey, we're leaving for New York tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we kind of,
Yeah.
you kind of have to deal with the pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
But if I want the lineup that we got, and which I don't want them sticking me with people that I don't know.
Right. Of course,
so
yeah.
it's just kind of like, all right, this is what we'll do. And to be honest with you, until the gigs are worth going past that, it's you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
unless you're going to give me a lot of money to go play for somebody that's in California. I mean, we'd love to go play the Whiskey.
Sure.
Yeah.
But how are we going to
course,
do
yeah,
it?
yeah. Right, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
spending $7,000 to get to California.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean? So,
yeah.
so I mean, and he's asked us.
Yeah.
The guy that books the Whiskey's asked us twice already.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just it's all in time.
Yeah.
It'll
yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's just going to be when it's a little bit more efficient to everybody. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
Getting there.
I'm curious if anybody has any other projects that you're involved in, because I'm thinking of you, Sherman, specifically, because every drummer that we have on the show, almost every drummer, although Space Casino, our guests in the last hour, were a rare exception, but almost every drummer we have on the show is in like 10 different bands.
Nope. I spend all my time strictly with these guys.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's cool that you guys play enough that, to keep you busy, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
One of the things that, I dabble in recording, and because I don't have my studio set up right now, we moved here from Houston. And once I get my studio set up, then we can start recording our stuff. Right now, I'm just recording our rehearsals.
Okay.
And so we kind of flush things out and
Yeah.
just kind of experiment there.
Yeah.
But as far as, I'm not opposed to getting involved with a recording project,
Yeah.
but performing, no.
Okay.
Because I've been approached a few times. And
Yeah.
It's just that I tell them, okay, but my priorities are with Lone Wolf James.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's even on my band mix photo.
Is it?
you know,
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I'm the drummer for Lone Wolf James.
Yeah.
And this is my first priority.
So I have a theory that when you're growing up and you first get interested in playing a musical instrument, you got to have the conversation with the parents. If you approach them with either the drums or maybe the tuba, they're gonna try to talk you out of it, and that's why drummers are in such high demand. I think because a lot of parents try to talk their kids out of. You don't want to play
My
drums.
poor parents, man. They had the trumpet and then the drums.
Yep.
Oh, that's right, because you also
Yeah,
play
he
drums.
is.
I was
right?
a
You said
drummer
you were-
first.
You were a drummer first.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
so-
Yeah.
But
Oh boy.
You played the trumpet?
I started off in trumpet. We ain't even getting into that story. Go ahead, Sherman. Keep talking.
It's funny. I started on the violin.
Did you? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah?
I did.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Now, how many songs do you have as a band? Because you've got one full length album, right? But you've got others.
I have 2 full-length albums.
2 full length. Okay.
And there's 2 before that. There's 3 EPs.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
And
you've
we're-
got a lot of material then.
Yeah. But I mean, unfortunately on stage you only get about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're taking, with Sherman now, we know probably, let's say, 15, 16 songs.
Okay.
And we dabble in 12 of them for the shows. We switch stuff in and out and whatever.
Yeah.
But as a unit, like, there's still, like, the other day we were bringing up songs that I hadn't played in 15 years.
No kidding.
You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were just like, hey, you know what if we do this? You know?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I haven't heard that one or whatever. So my old stuff is still brand new to them.
Yeah.
It's like saying I came in with a new record, right?
Yeah.
So, and the good thing is like I said, the first couple were acoustic. Mm-hmm. They were drums and stuff, but they were acoustic versions of the songs. You know?
Yeah.
So to bring it in with a massive band and have that full band sound now.
Yep.
I mean, when I traded my acoustic in for a Marshall and a Les Paul, I was like, okay, this is serious. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
We're moving forward, and then you add everybody, and the next thing you know, it's like, gee, what would this? Like, there's a song that we're doing now that I want to record that I only have an acoustic version of, and we do play it once in a while.
Yeah.
It's called Native Groove, and it's one of my favorites. right?
Okay.
And that was strictly me on acoustic with some drums and a little bass. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And it was big sounding.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And I was like, man, imagine what this would sound like with a band.
Yeah.
So we brought it in, and now you add Sherman, you add Jeff, and you add Tim with my guitar, and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
this is just like a wall of sound,
Yeah.
So that's one of the first tracks I want to record after we get done with this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when they come to us and say, hey, I need more material, you bet.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
in the studio, because we got a couple of songs written that we want to do, and that's higher on my list.
That's cool.
You know.
I mean, it's good to have things that are ready to work on.
Yep.
Than trying to come up with ideas.
And we've written some new ones. Like there's
Yeah.
a song that we're dabbling on right now that Jeff and I kind of were trying to put together, and then it was called Showtime.
Okay.
And another one, I Want to Be Bad. We wrote. I wanted to do like a AC/DC bass groove, like the Jack.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of wanted to do something like that where it's all like sexual talking.
Yeah.
Instead of singing, and I said, but I needed this certain. So I went to his house. And
Yeah.
He's like, well, what do you want me to play? And I'm like, just go boom, boom. Think of like Running with the Devil.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like type thing. And he did that, and we kind of put this stuff in together. And then Tim came in and was like, what would be great there? Some of this wah guitar,
Yeah, yeah.
and all that stuff. And then Sherman's just looking at us. I'm like, just play a beat. He finally gets in and starts figuring out what he wants to do. But
Yeah.
it came together, and I was like, wow. And then we were actually going to play that on these upcoming shows.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I Want to
yeah.
Be Bad is going to be played on those. So
Yeah. You've got Enough's Enough coming up. You said you're going to be opening for them.
yes,
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, we're doing a tour, a leg of a tour with them.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
doing
cool.
we're doing. I think it's Manchester, Connecticut, and Rhode Island.
Rhode
Oh,
Island.
cool.
Yeah, we're doing 3 nights in a row with them.
Okay.
In June.
I always said they were underrated. Fly High, Michelle, I think is such a great song.
Yeah.
And it's one of those songs, you mention it to people now and they don't even remember it,
It's funny too because Chip is singing. I think now.
Yep.
I don't think it's the original singer anymore. I think Chip's enough the bass player.
Yeah.
I think he's the original member, obviously. But I think
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong, but I think he's singing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's a singer, but he kept the name.
Okay.
Yeah. But
You mentioned Lynch Mob, too. You opened for Lynch Mob?
yeah,
Yes,
down in Webster.
Oh, that must have been cool.
Yeah.
That first Lynch Mob album, again, this is no one even remembers, but Wicked Sensation.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's that would be in my top 10 all time. Just so good.
Well, it was funny because this is where I'll bring Tim in.
Yeah.
For that show, right?
Yeah.
Because George Lynch, hello.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
lead guitar player. So I kept busting his chops. I kept saying, "Do you realize in the same month you have to open for basically George Lynch and Ace Frehley?"
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And he's just like, "Shut up." So we were going over. We were playing. We did our set. We played Lynch, and then Tim and I are on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And George Lynch is right there.
Yeah.
And he's just playing. And I look over at Tim, and he's just looking up at George. He looks at me. He's got this like kid at Christmas look on.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. That must have been so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'll let him take it
Well,
from there.
he even gave me a little nod because, I tried to squeeze in just a little piece of Mr. Scary, but
Really? Yeah.
I didn't think he noticed, but he barely looked at me off stage, but I was side stage, and he turned around, and he did like a little riff that I do,
Oh, no kidding.
and then he nodded, and
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
cool.
wow,
Oh, that's really cool.
I
That's
could
really
die
cool.
now, right?
Was he all buff too? Was
Yeah,
that during
yeah.
his
Yeah.
big bodybuilding phase? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't like
He's
that.
not super buff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Really? Yeah.
He's
yeah.
concentrating all the time.
Yeah. But you've got Enough's Enough coming up. What was it? There was another one.
Power Man 5000's
Yeah.
coming.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got a leg of a tour with them, and it's
wow.
them and Head PE and
Nice.
bands like that. And we just got off the road with Head PE because they were on the Saliva
Yep.
leg that we did. We did a leg
okay.
of Saliva.
Okay.
And Josie Scott and
What about May 9th?
what are we doing?
Oh, Nazareth.
Nazareth.
Oh, Nazareth. Yeah,
Blue
thank you.
Ocean.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
That's going to be at the Blue Ocean.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
the Blue Ocean.
Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's what I mean. They got legends like Ace and Nazareth, and then we have, the Power Man 5000s, the Salivas.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're trying to get hooked up with a couple of things that I can't say anything of who they are yet, but
Okay.
because until the ink is dry, as they say. But I think this summer, later in the summer, we're gonna get some bigger.
Yeah.
The whole point of it was to try to get in with a lot of these bands that.
Yep.
And in order, what people don't get is like the management companies and the agents are all interactive.
Oh yeah.
So if you're playing with this band, they're the same agent as this band, and you ain't gonna play with that band until you play with this band,
Yeah.
or this venue without that venue and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So right now, the contracts I'm doing, the bands, it's great because you get to have eclectic of all these. Like we opened the first tour we did was Tantric.
Okay.
I only knew one song
Shout
from
out.
Tantric.
Yeah.
And now they're like the coolest guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we
Love
hung out
them.
every
They were
night.
great all
Yeah.
weekend.
We
Really,
hung
yeah.
out with them every night backstage. They were real good to us.
Okay.
In fact, Hugo even approached me about maybe producing one of my next songs or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. But in general, they were just cool guys.
Yeah.
They were real. And we're looking forward to touring with them again. But
Yeah.
we did that tour. I didn't know who they were.
Right.
Really, yeah.
Other than that one song or whatever. But
Yeah.
then it came out, and you're like, wow, these guys are really good.
Yeah. They had a few hits.
Yeah. yeah.
Morning was the big ballad, which I really like that song. I can't remember what else, but
Well, Breakdown was their breakthrough.
oh, Breakdown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
But
That's
there was,
right, yeah.
but I mean, it's so rare that you see because there's always an interconnection to like a lot of people don't know that Hugo's connected into the Betancourt family with Nuno and all that stuff. And it's funny because I knew all those guys.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, okay. So we kind of know the same. Like we're going to play a local show. We're not doing too many local shows.
Yeah.
And we're playing a local show at the Raven, which is Chris Betancourt's club.
Oh, okay.
Who's Nuno's cousin, no brother.
Oh,
so
okay.
so
Yep,
it's
yep.
all connected. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's all connected. So
Yeah.
it's you make the right friends in the right places.
I'm curious because a lot of music industry people listen to the show. Do you enjoy the business side of it? It seems like you do the way that you talk about it, but I know, but maybe not. I'm just,
The truth.
I'm curious. I mean,
Remember, you're live now.
I know.
I mean, obviously, you'd rather not have to do that part and focus on the creative part. I know, but it seems like you seem like you understand the business part of it at least, which is puts you ahead of a lot of musicians. Right?
It used to be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Now it makes you kind of a hole, but you have to be. Because
yeah.
if you're not, they're gonna walk all over you.
Absolutely.
So, like the biggest thing I do, like a lot of people think, oh, Lowell James, he named the band after him, and he's the singer. Yeah, I wish that was the case. That would be so much easier.
Right.
But it's like, but I tell people all the time, and I say this to even these guys, and it's not a downshoot because I love them. But
Yeah.
I said, this is you guys are part of it, and you get to walk away and go home.
Right.
I don't get to leave Lone Wolf James because I am him.
Right.
So while everybody else is doing whatever they're doing, I'm handling contracts and phone calls and just, and all this venue changed this or this guy's been like we were supposed to play with LA Guns right here in Manchester in October. Yeah. And because they played the Tupelo last night, which Tim went to, they went last night.
I didn't even know.
Yeah.
They were at the Tupelo
They were
last night?
amazing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They pulled the show. Now, I was already contracted for it.
Oh, that sucks.
So it's kind of like one of those, like, okay, well, what are you going to do? It has nothing to do with me personally, right?
Yeah.
So now I have to wait and redo it. But it's like little things like that, or you have everything in your contract about a venue, and you get to the venue and there's no place for the band to change or park. They want you to pay to park. Like, you want me to pay to park? I'm playing here. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that's where you go. Okay. There's only so far you're going to go, even just yourself. Yeah. You have to get an agent. You have to get. So what I did was I had an agent from years ago, and he hooked us up. Like Jeff's first show with us, I think was Jackal.
Jackal,
right?
yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
And I mean, and he put us right here at Jewel.
Good way to start.
Yeah.
And
That's a good start. Yeah.
And it was like, he booked us with that, and so I knew him for years.
Yeah.
And but basically, I ended up calling him and saying, "How much to hire you on as a consultant?
Oh.
Just for us.
Yeah.
Just to do this, blah, blah, blah." Because I said, I'm getting calls and I'm doing these things. And I'm like, I need somebody who can haggle for me.
Yeah.
That can talk contracts with these people. And then gives me the contract so I understand it.
Right.
Without all the bull,
Yeah.
So that's basically all I did. And then with the fact that I'm in the studio recording right now, and the producer that is recording us is he was huge. He did stuff with Ray Charles, Elton John, Aretha Franklin, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC,
Celine Dion.
So he's worked with them all.
Wow.
And he's in the studio producing this next record. Yeah. So he's got us working on a deal, whether it's Sony or whatever. Yeah. Right? So hopefully that comes through. But with that happening, you get a buzz. Mm-hmm. People see who you're recording with, see what's going on. Oh, wow, these guys aren't kidding. Right. They're in, like, you see the studio I'm in, and that kind of stuff, and people are like, wow. Yeah. Then you go from that, and you get the right consultant who knows you and knows you're not just talking. Right. And next thing you know, he's like, well, I'll give you a chance. Like, our put our toes in the water for him was, I know you can play a one-off, but I'm going to put you on tour with Tantric. Yeah. Don't disappoint us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if it comes back and you hear all this noise, he's going to go, I ain't booking these guys.
With a broken foot.
With the broken foot.
With a broken foot.
Sherman broke his foot.
Oh, my God.
Right before the tour, and he looked at me right after it happened. He goes, do not cancel those shows.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so.
It happened at practice.
Yep.
Technically, it was my fault.
Oh, my God. So how many shows did you have to play that way?
We did.
We did 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I took the boot off when we did Lynch Mob because we were shooting the video.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Because I took the boot off for that, because I didn't want to have this gigantic.
Yeah.
We were like the second night in on the Tantric show.
Oh, wow.
And he's back there, and he's got this big ass boot and all, and I'm just like, I'm looking back at him on stage, and he's playing his heart out, right? Yeah. And in the Alchemy, we were playing this place called the Alchemy. It's a great venue down in Providence, right? And it was pretty packed. I mean, it was ocean of people all the way back for a small club. Yeah. And I finally look at him, and I look at the crowd. I look back at him, and I go, and look at this, and I said whatever I said, and I'm like, and he said he's played with one leg, right? The whole, and he lifts his foot up like this, and the whole place went nuts. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, that's great,
That's
but
rock and roll.
That is rock and roll.
Yeah. Wow. No, good for you. Wait, maybe you said it. How many shows did you play with?
At least 4.
Your
At least 4.
Yeah.
At least 4.
Yeah.
He's still in recovery.
Yeah. I assume you didn't tell your doctor about it?
No, he actually knew.
Oh, he knew? He knew? Yeah. He was all right with it?
Well, luckily, I'm a double bass drummer, so it was just my hi-hat foot.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay.
But I couldn't I do some sparse double bass in our songs.
Yeah.
And, it was.
You wouldn't have known.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
You did a great job.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely pulled it off.
If you're just joining us, we've got the band Lone Wolf James here with us live in studio. You want to play another? We can play another track from the album.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll let you pick.
Try First Breath.
Yeah, Jeff's got.
I like that one.
Yeah, put First Breath.
Go
on.
ahead.
Good
Make him have
song.
it.
Cue
He's
this
trying to
up
get me
here.
to bring this back into the set list now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's going to be
yeah.
there.
It's a good song.
It's a good track. Yeah. All right, here it is. This is First Breath, and the band is Lone Wolf James.
Look at that.
Thank
All right, that is First Breath, and the band is Lone Wolf James. We've got the guys from Lone Wolf James here in studio with us. If you are listening live, you guys are all you're pretty scattered. I know we were talking about it off air. You guys are pretty scattered, right, in terms of where you all live.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Does that make it? Well, actually, though, although I think you had said earlier too, you're playing so many shows, you don't necessarily need to get together for too many rehearsals, right? But
Right.
But it must make it a little challenging, right? But it shows a level of commitment too that you have, that you're able to be kind of scattered and live far away from each other, but still put in the time to get together and work on the band.
Well, Sherman actually kind of came to the rescue on that one. When I had my studio, my dad died years ago, and I had built a rehearsal studio downstairs.
Nice.
My mom lived upstairs, and I had my studio downstairs. So the band would always just come there, and I was down in Mass.
Yeah.
Yep.
And unfortunately, this past October, she passed away. So when she passed away, I had to sell her house and all that.
Yeah.
We were looking around for places to go, blah, blah, blah. And Sherman was just kind of like, just bring it to my house.
Oh, okay.
And then we went up there, and he has a bunch of gear and studio. So he cleared out one of his rooms at his house.
Yeah.
And up in Wakefield. So that's where we rehearse now. So
Oh, excellent.
and so he kind of came to the rescue on that one.
private.
Because, it's private, and we can get there. We can play when we want to, and but yeah, my goal was to keep us so busy. We're not just sitting in a rehearsal room constantly.
Right.
I mean, if we have something we want to work on, great.
Yeah.
But like we took April off, and I think this is the most we've rehearsed. We've had we got today too, so it'll be like the third one in a row.
Yeah, yeah.
But then after that, we hit May, and we probably won't be back in that room till August.
No kidding. Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. No.
But
it's good to be busy.
Yep.
Excellent. What do you, oh geez, the time goes so quick. So I want to make sure, a couple things. So I want to make sure people know where to go online to keep up with everything that you guys are doing. Where's the best place to?
Reverb Nation is our main page.
Okay.
So if you go to reverbnation.com/Lone Wolf James, it brings up pictures, our tour dates, all up live events, things like that. Plus, each one of us has our own Facebook page.
Okay.
So if you go to Gary James, or there's a Lone Wolf James Facebook page.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But that's more of a bulletin page. It just kind of shows the posters of where we're playing and things like that.
Okay.
But individually, you can contact any of us on Facebook.
Okay.
Individually, and then go ask any questions or whatever you want.
Okay. And you have a couple videos too, right? Or do you, or maybe just one? Do you have at least one music video, right?
Cradle was the for professional videos.
Okay.
Yeah, Cradle was the professional video we shot years ago.
Yeah.
And as of right now, we're going to start soon production on a song called Freaks.
Okay.
That we're recording in the studio, and we're doing that. Plus, Sherman had mentioned off air, and he reminded me, thank you, that when we played the Lynch Mob show, our engineer from the studio, Jay, had come down and he works for Metronome.
Okay.
And he had come down with all his cameras and everything and shot a live video of us that night, opening for Lynch Mob. So it was a huge crowd at the Webster Theater.
Oh, cool.
And all that. So we have the live footage. We just don't have the concept footage yet.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
we're going to be doing that over the summer, and then when it gets it's all. And in fact, I got in touch. I don't know who we're going to use yet, but one of the guys that contacted me he contacted me. He did all the saliva videos.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that's a good rep.
Yeah.
If he's doing salivas, click, click,
Right.
boom, and always. So I was like, that's a good guy to have in your pocket.
Yeah.
So I've been going back and forth with him, and now we're discussing contract about it. So,
Nice.
So
Good.
we'll see what happens, because the live footage from Jay and the concept stuff that this guy's going to do. He's talking about maybe like having some kind of weird circus tent type looking thing.
Yeah.
So we've already kind of gone back and forth. I'm going to get everybody's input on what we're going to do. And,
Yeah.
But so it'll that'll come out after the record, after the song comes out.
Okay.
But
Okay. Very cool. And what's the next show you've got coming up?
the next one
live show?
is going to be, the next national show is May 17th. No, May 9th.
May 9th.
May 9th at the Blue Ocean with Nazareth.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's
yeah.
the next one. And then May 17th is at Hartford with Tim Montana.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Very good. Very good. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming in, all four of you. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate your being here. We're going to wrap up in a moment because we are approaching the top of the hour. But we will we'll play one more track to end the show today. What should we
Play Wicker Man. We'll end it out with Wicker Man.
Wicker Man?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. Any kind of a story behind this song? Not everyone knows what
not really. It's just the fact that
He's Wiccan.
I'm Wiccan.
Okay.
And somebody once said, oh my God, you're evil and blah, 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 blah. So I kind of did a tongue-in-cheek song about, the Wicca Man being evil. But it's kind of, it's eerie, but it's eerie in my book because I joked about it.
Yeah.
But there's really no like deep subject to it or anything.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, that's a perfect way to end the show then.
Yeah.
Of the Wicker Man.